I just spent 400,000 British pounds in 3 days, and I will never see that money again, but it was perhaps some of the best money I've ever spent. It was running an event, a 3-day event in London called AdCon 2024, and I pretty much just got back to the office and I'm reminiscing about the experience that I've just had, the incredible lineup of speakers, and the just unbelievable audience that came to be a part of this, and my team that made it happen. I'm so full of gratitude, I'm so thankful, and what I want to do in this video is something very different to what I usually do here on the channel. Usually my videos are polished and planned and scripted, and I want to do something different. Today's video, I just want to share with you a raw, unedited video where I just kind of go into some of my biggest highlights from this event. Perhaps talk a bit about why I put it on. Why do I see any sense in putting a £400,000 event on? What's the benefit to me and my business? What were some of my key takeaways? What were some of the key takeaways from our attendees? And perhaps even how I landed some of the biggest names on the UK scene. People like Abdaal, Steven Bartlett, David JP Phillips, who has some of the biggest TEDx talks. How do you get these guys on your stage? We'll go into that as well. So first and foremost, let me just say again how thankful I am. For those of you watching this that came to the event and made this what it was, I can't tell you how thankful I am. It was amazing, and it would be nothing without you. I want to thank my team as well for making it happen, and I really do want to thank all of my speakers, many of whom were just doing me a personal favor by coming and speaking on this stage. I'll share more about that in a moment, and I'll also talk about how I'm able to secure these high-profile guests. First and foremost, let's talk about why I would put this event on. Why would I take the risk to spend so much money and put so much on the line when there's so much that could go wrong and it could be a real issue? Well, the first reason is this. I love connecting people. I like bringing people together. I love community, and the idea of putting on an event in the UK where we can facilitate that lights me up. If I'm being honest with you, which is the idea behind the video today, let's not plan this out, let's just be honest. Sometimes in business, you can get a little bit bored. If you're doing the same thing over and over again, if you are, in my situation, if you've been doing the same type of thing, selling the same type of product for many, many years, you can start to be destimulated, right? You just start to, it becomes almost easy to operate at that level, and you need new challenges. And so for me, the idea of putting on an event like this in the UK, where currently there isn't really an event of this caliber, where there's an opportunity for me to do something new, to create something that hasn't been done before, to do it at a level that's not been done. That really excites me. The challenge that comes with that really excites me. The idea that we could trailblaze something here, that of course there's proof of concept. There's proof of concept across different industries, and there's obviously an appetite for events like this. It's just that they're so expensive, so risky, and take so much work and effort that most people won't do it, or are just quite simply not in a financial position to be able to do it. So that's, I guess, the main reason is I've shared two already. One was, connecting people and bringing community together. I love the idea of that. The second is the challenge for me in business. But the third is, I guess it goes hand in hand with the challenge. It's exciting for me to do something like this. It actually lights me up. And I know it does my team as well. And so that would be another reason why we do this. And oftentimes with events like this, what you'll find is that even if somebody attempts to run an event like this, you will try to keep, or this is the model, you keep your costs down as low as humanly possible while trying to convert in the room as high as possible. And the furthest apart you can get those two numbers, the better the business model, right? You throw an event, doesn't cost you much, you make a bunch of money by making an offer in the room. And many of my friends in the industry have been confused over my style with this event, because I didn't skimp out on expense. I didn't look to cut costs anywhere that I possibly could. In fact, I was looking for ways to make the event more impactful and throw more money at the event. And at the same time, I'm making another mistake, or the industry would say a mistake, on the other side, which is that I'm not looking to squeeze the room for as much revenue as we possibly can. My first prize was hosting an event that was an incredible experience that our attendees loved, that they would want to come back to, and that will give us the springboard to increase the size of the event again next year and to continue making this the leader in this event space in the UK. That for me is first prize. Second prize is that we pick up some clients. And so at the event, we did a very soft sell, which a soft sell is essentially meaning I'm not going to do a run to the back of the room, fill out an order form if you want to join this product. But instead, I made an offer that wasn't right for everybody in the room, and there was an application process. And if they were interested, they could book a conversation with a member of my team, and we'll follow up with them after the event. So it's very soft sell. Now, were we profitable? Yes, absolutely. And we were quite nicely in profit, but that's not really the point. I think, and I say this with full integrity, I think I would do this event even if I made no money. I probably wouldn't do it if I lost money, but I would certainly do it if I made no money. So then the question is, well, what's the other upside then? If I'm willing to do it, whether I actually make any profit from it or not, what's the upside? Well, most people are very short-minded, right? They're narrow-minded, I guess we would say, in that they're looking at an event like this, they're looking at a room of people, they're looking at bums on seats, and they're thinking, how much revenue is in the room if I was to make an offer? I'm not looking at it like that. The way I'm looking at it is the long-term trajectory. One of the things I already said, which is that if I can create an amazing experience, it's going to make selling tickets next year that much easier. And it's going to allow us to increase the size of the event next year because more people want to come back. Side note, at the event this year, we already sold half of the room that were at the event a ticket to next year. Now that is unheard of. For half of a conference room to whip out their phone, scan a QR code, and pre-purchase their ticket 12 months in the future. I might add that these people weren't even sure what the dates of the event would be next year. That points to how good the event was, right? So gives us that springboard. Second thing are the connections. When I'm getting those speakers together in that room, I'm able to build a further relationship and connection with those speakers, and many of them were already my friends. But I would honestly say at the end of the 3 days at AdCon 2024, many of them became much closer friends than perhaps they weren't before. And one thing that I've realized as we go through these levels of business, right? You've got the early phase where you're just trying to get the wheels moving, and then you've got, you're getting into scale now. So we're turning on paid ads and we're learning sales calls, and then you want to scale up to a 7-figure business. You can get to 7 figures by with just knowledge, right? You're just learning how to do some of these things. And what I've learned is to get to that 8 figures and beyond, to build a really big business, it then becomes about the people that you're connecting with, the people that you're surrounding yourself with, the network that you have that you can call upon if you ever need something. And because of the network that I've created around myself, the inner circle of friends that I have in the industry, there's almost no problem now that my business could have that I couldn't solve with one WhatsApp message, or at least that one WhatsApp message would connect me with the solution. And that's a fascinating place to be in, because your problems start to dissipate simply because you know the right people. But to get in those rooms and to know the right people takes time to build that relationship. You can't rush into that. You can't see someone across the room at a conference hall that you've never met before in your entire life, and you know that they've got something of value that would help you, and within 5 minutes of knowing them, you're already asking them if they can help you with something. That's the wrong approach. It takes time. So it's taken time for me to connect with these speakers. It's taken time for me to build that relationship and that rapport, and bringing those speakers to AdCon. I have zero doubt, but I also have zero expectation. It's important, but I have zero doubt that those connections, me bringing this event together and bringing these speakers together, will pay dividends in the long run. There'll be problems that I have in business that will be solved purely because of a connection I made with someone at my event at AdCon 2024 when we're in 2027, right? And I coupled that with I have no expectation. And that's where I found some of the best relationships come from. Is you don't have any expectation. I've got zero expectation on my AdCon speakers. I'm not looking for anything from them. I don't want anything from them. If they ever need help, I'm going to jump on that and I'm going to help and support them. But I just have no doubt it will pay dividends in the long run. And then that plays itself all the way up to the highest level. So for example, we had 2 keynote speakers that came to the event. One was Steven Bartlett and the other was Abdaal. And these 2 were gentlemen that I didn't know very well before the event. And so by having them a part of AdCon and connecting with their teams beforehand, because before AdCon, I wasn't connecting with Steven directly, I wasn't connecting with Ali directly, I'm connecting with their teams, but I'm building relationship and rapport with their teams over time to the point where I've been able to arrange for them to be at the event and I'm able to build some connection with them there and then. So Steven Bartlett, for example, we decided to create him an incredible gift just for being at the event. And I got these, I was talking with his assistant and I was finding out his shoe size and what his favorite brand is. And so we got these shoes through a friend of a friend, funnily enough, connections, right? Someone I'd met in a mastermind connected me with someone who could do these beautiful hand-painted art pieces on shoes. And so we came up with this idea for what could be on these shoes, and we had a dragon to represent Steven on Dragon's Den, and we had some of his favorite quotes on the inside and on the outside. We had his dog Pablo on the other side. Just an amazing pair of shoes, and I presented them to Steven on stage, and he loved them, and that was awesome. And again, I'm not looking for anything from Steven. I don't want anything from that relationship. All I wanted to do was just make sure that I'm not another event that Steven comes and speaks at, leaves, and doesn't even remember it. I wanted to make sure that I was memorable, and we did that backstage. Had some amazing conversations, on the way out, exchanging numbers and texting a little bit back and forth, and just furthering that relationship. And again, don't want anything from Steven. I have no assumption as to what comes next, but it was just amazing to have him at the event, to build that relationship, and who knows what the future holds. I will tell you one of the key takeaways that I got from Steven's talk, and then I'll touch on Ali, who I'm also very, very excited about. During Steven's fireside chat, as we call it, I started to ask him some challenging questions, to which he was giving some incredible answers to our audience. And we were talking about team building, and that got us on to talking about recruitment. And one of my biggest takeaways from Steven's talk was this idea that some business owners, particularly when they're at the early stages, they're starting to build a team, starting to move in that direction, they rush recruitment.
For the first, I think, 10 to 12 years of my career, I thought my outcomes were going to be determined mostly by how hard I worked and how good my ideas were. I was fundamentally wrong, and you can see that I was wrong by the hires and the decisions that I made about who to surround myself with. I'd make those decisions flippantly with very little rigor. I would go into Prada, and I hired the guy that was selling the bags when I was 20 years old to become my head of accounts. I met another guy at Rap Battle, and I hired him to be my account manager at my company, because I was living under the belief that my outcomes were going to be determined by my skill, my work ethic, and my ideas.
All right, I need a marketing assistant, and I need it now. I need a PA, and I need it now. I need an administrative person, and I need them now. And so we rush it. We go through Indeed, we look at some applications, we do some interviews, we settle for someone who wasn't quite right, but we offer them the job nonetheless because we're busy, right? And so we end up just going with the person that seemed the best fit of the bunch. And he said, I don't see it like that.
I am a recruitment company, and you can predict the outcome of any entrepreneur sat in this room, I believe, by how many hours they allocate to hiring a week. Because for me, I'm spending about 30 hours a week hiring, and I'm chasing great people for 5 months, and in one case with Leo Harrison, an announcement that'll happen soon, 5 years I spent chasing that guy to come and work with me. because it's clear to me that actually, over a long period of time, the thing that matters the most is, number one, fundamental game, can I attract the best people in the world to come and join my mission? Number two, can I bind them with a culture that makes them do the best work of their life? And number three, can I set them a mission that's inherently valuable? Just think, this is obviously a ridiculous thought experiment, but play out the scenario that you hired Elon Musk, and you got the best out of him, fundamental game number two, and you set him a mission which was inherently valuable. You would be the benefactor of what? Trillions of dollars. And that is the reality of the game of business.
This is Steven talking, I spend so much time on recruitment, on the front end, before I offer the job. He said, I'm always looking at CVs.
The word company, by definition, is group of people. And this was a mindset shift that changed my life. And it's reflected in everything I do now. I look at thousands of CVs a week. I spend most of my time in interviews, meeting candidates, as I have done all this week.
He even said he will sometimes be on a massage table, getting his weekly massage. And underneath the little viewing window, and he's laying on the bed, he's just looking at CVs. He said, I just love looking through this, finding my next recruits, and people call me crazy for spending so much time. And he said, I think they're crazy for rushing recruitment. Here's the key takeaway: rushing recruitment, not realize the mountain of wasted time that comes on the other side. He said, think about the cost of making a bad hire. You could put an extra month into recruitment on this side, and that month might feel like wasted time, but it's nothing in comparison to making a quick bad hire. That person's on a 6-month probationary period, doing a terrible job, wasting so much of your time, destroying the company culture, bringing in bad habits, and leaving you with a pile of crap to clear up. That was a real light bulb for me, and we've only been back from AdCon a few days, and I'm already thinking about our recruitment process very, very differently. So anyway, amazing having Steven with us, and I'm sure we'll do something with him again in the future. And then people like Abdaal, just an incredible entrepreneur. What an amazing story. I don't know if you've seen him on YouTube, but we're talking about, at the time of recording this, well into the 5 million subscribers on his channel. Used to be a doctor, and pursued this career as a content creator, and now turned marketer and true serial entrepreneur with many projects on the go. And I love these types of stories because I find that it's very inspiring for our audience to see that, it's not just John that's come from nothing. I mean, I've got no qualifications, nothing whatsoever, yet I've been able to build a pretty sizable company, and now many companies. But to see Ali doing exactly the same thing, right? Trained for a certain career path, switched, learning on the job, this social media content game, and now he's got a multi-million pound per year online business and absolutely thriving. And one of my biggest takeaways from Ali's presentation, which was just absolutely incredible, by the way, he did a content piece where he taught our audience, the secrets to growing on YouTube. It was a sensational session. But then we sat down and we had a fireside chat afterwards, and I was asking him how he records his content, just as I'm doing right now. Does he have it scripted out word for word? Does he just have bullet points? Does he do it? Does his team do it? Does he do a lot of research, a small amount of research? Does he just think on top of his head? And he was sharing how he has these different levels for pieces of content, and he circulates them.
A video is either level 1, 2, 3, 4, or 5. A level 1 video is I get given the title and I think about it for a minute and I hit record. That is a level 1 video. We do very few of those, but actually our best performing video of all time was a video I made a couple of weeks ago, which was a level 1 video. I was like, interesting. A level 2 video is where I get given a title, or like I think about a title with my producer and we're like, okay, this is the title. And I have 15 minutes to figure out what my 3 points are. That is a level 2 video. Just 3 points and like maybe 1 or 2 bullet points under each one. Doesn't take longer than 15 minutes, especially if it's something I'm an expert in. If if someone asks me a question about YouTube, I can answer any question about YouTube. Easy, right? If someone asked you guys a question about your area of expertise, you could probably answer any question. If someone asked me, Ali, you were a doctor, what are the 5 evidence-based tips to improve your brain health? I'm like, oh God, okay, like that's not my area of expertise. Like, okay, I'm gonna have to do a load of research. And that's why I don't like making videos that require research, because why would you waste time? So level 2 video is 15 minutes of prep with some bullet points. A level 3 video is where I'm like, okay, we did a video on how to be effortlessly disciplined. Where I was like, okay, I think the 3 to 5 things I want to say are blah, 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 blah. But actually, point number 3, point number 4, and point number 5, there was a study that I remember from like 2017 where they did research assistant. We have a part-time research assistant. Can you go and like find that study? And point number 4 and 5, it's like we're using case studies. And so can you find me an example of someone who, like a celebrity or someone who like felt like they needed discipline to achieve their goals, blah, 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 and just like stick it in there. And so level 3 videos where I know what's in the video, but a research assistant just goes out and spends a few hours. ChatGPT is helpful for this. Obviously, you have to fact check it. To just juicify the points. We call them, we have a thing internally. We think crunchification and juicification. So crunchy and juicy are like the two things. Crunchy is where it's like, ooh, that's crunchy, that's spicy. That's like, ooh, it's a bit counterintuitive. Most people think that discipline is good, but actually discipline is bad for your health. Ooh, some crunch there. It's like, it's interesting. It's like on the surface, there's something counterintuitive about the point. Juicy is, there was this really cool study that they did, blah, 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 blah. Like, it's adding depth, it's adding juice to the thing. And the thing we can learn from this is if you set a timer 30 seconds before blah, 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 that will actually make you 12% more productive. Wow, that's a juicy point. Right. So crunchification and juicification is what my team are thinking about for level 3 and above videos that we give to the team to do. Level 4 video is usually what we do is, so I have a podcast, long form podcast. A podcast by itself is not great because it's on the podcast channel and doesn't get that many views relative to our main channel. So what the team does is they go through the podcast and they tease out interesting sound bites and they put them into a 15-minute long YouTube video and they put some bullet points that sort of bridge the thingies. So I did a podcast episode with Professor Russell Foster, who's a professor of circadian science at Oxford University. 20,000 people watched that. 3 hours long, we're talking about boring ass circadian science. We did a YouTube video on my main channel where the title was Why You're Always Tired, 7 Myths Ruining Your Sleep. That had a very nice thumbnail. You can check it out on the channel. Where the 7 points were 7 sound bites from the interview with Russell Foster, but I gave it a nice hook, we gave it a nice title and thumbnail. We sort of molded the video with sound bites, me talking sound bites, where I'm like, there's a bit from Russell, cut to the podcast interview. So here Russell is talking about the power of waking up at the same time, and it's really cool, and here's what the diagram of graph looks like, blah, 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 from his book, blah, blah, blah. All right, point number 2 from Russell, here's what he had to say. Boom, straight to the podcast. Then to me, wow, that's super interesting. I apply this to my life, but that video's got like 7 million views. So like 20,000 on a 3-hour-long video with a professor that no one cares about. 7 million views on the same content, repackaged with a compelling title and thumbnail, and me sort of guiding the audience through the thing. That's a level 4 video.
Right.
A level 5 video is fully scripted word for word. I hate doing these. We've dabbled with them back in the day, but we don't really do them anymore.
But the second biggest takeaway is that he said most recently, one of the best performing videos on his channel was style number 1, where he just has a topic, has an idea, turns on the camera and sees what comes out. And that was one of his best performing videos as of late. And I just thought that was really interesting and moreover, really encouraging for me and you and my clients to know that we can get started on YouTube. There's still an opportunity to do so. We don't have to have all of the fancy gear and a well-scripted video, but we can just take our knowledge, take our expertise, turn on the camera, make sure it looks half decent, and hit record. And look, there's just so many other speakers I wish I could talk about, but I guess I'll mention 2 more. And for the record, if you didn't make it to AdCon 2024, then you should definitely at least get on the waitlist for 2025. You can go to adcon.co.uk and right there's a waiting list. And if you jump on that, you'll be notified ahead of anybody else, ahead of the general public, when tickets go on sale for AdCon 2025, and you can be one of the first to grab a ticket. Just a heads up, this year we sold out 4 weeks early of every single ticket. VIP tickets sold out 8 weeks early. So we're going to do the same again next year. And so if you want to get ahead of the crowd, you get on our wait list and definitely grab a ticket when we first announce it. But I've got to just mention this guy, David JP Phillips. This is someone that I've followed for many, many years. He has a presentation, a TEDx talk that he uploaded many, many years ago now called Death by PowerPoint. And it's so popular, this presentation. I mean, I had Dan Henry at my event as well. And I mentioned it, I said, hey, do you know that guy? And he said, oh, who's that? I said, David JP Phillips. He said, who's that? I said, Death by PowerPoint? He went, you got that guy here at the event? He couldn't believe it. That was one of Dan's early mentors when he was learning this stuff. Alex Hormozy, maybe you've heard of that name, Alex Hormozy, gives a lot of credit to David JP Phillips for his work on that TEDx talk. And here he is speaking at the event. It's a long story as to how I managed to get him at the event, mutual friends helping out, but nonetheless, an incredible human being. I'm so pleased I met him. We had an amazing dinner together and just sharing stories, sharing life, just sharing our journey to where we've gotten to. And he was blown away by the event that we put on, and he was so appreciative to be a part of it. But his session, I mean, I don't even know how I can do it justice. He was breaking down a number of things. The biochemistry of webinars is what he called it. This idea of what's actually happening when you present a webinar. It's got nothing to do with the slides, the webinar software. It's got everything to do with how you're operating and how you're thinking and how you are delivering said webinar. And he went through some communication tactics that absolutely blew my audience away.
I spent 17 years of my career focusing on two things in communication, public speaking, in pitching, in YouTube videos and whatnot. It was focused on content and delivery. Content and delivery. Content and delivery. Content is storytelling. Content is structure. Content, the words you choose. Delivery, the 110 steps. I thought this was the holy grail, these two subjects. However, I learned the very hard way that that is not the case. You have content, you have delivery, but what rules it all is mindset. Correct? With the right mindset, one single day with an angel's cocktail, you can be 10 times better than another day, correct? So it all begins with mindset. We don't buy what we need. We buy what we feel. We don't buy what we need. We buy what we feel. How many times have you bought something that you didn't need, but you felt it, right? But what's scary in that is that very few people can actually answer the question, what is a feeling? Because that is the driving force of all your decisions. Ask neuroscience and biochemistry, it sounds like this. It is the particular concentration of a particular substance in combination with others in a particular part of the brain. That is a feeling. And I'm going to give you three very specific ones now. So let's begin with your angel's cocktail. Are you ready to feel dopamine?
Yeah.
Yes, beautiful. These are the effects of dopamine: motivation, desire, and confidence. Would you say that these are important when selling your products? So dopamine looks like this. Woo! Soon Friday, I can't wait. Oh, I bought that new thing, it's coming next day. Ooh, I can't wait. I'm 7 years old, it's Christmas tomorrow. Ooh, yes! Oh, I'm gonna go on a date, I can't wait, I can't wait, can't wait. This is you. This is you, this is your brain. I want you to write this down. The anticipation of reward is the definition of dopamine. Anticipation of reward. So if they go into your funnel and they don't feel an anticipation of reward, an anticipation of an opportunity, they cancel, they leave. And every single time you have to add to that. I want to ask you this, how often do you have to add dopamine in a funnel? According to Microsoft, in their most recent study, our attention span is 8 seconds. That means that every 8 seconds you need to add the dopamine to the person that is listening. This can be done by the person delivering the funnel video, for instance, by using pauses, by building, by saying, I'm going to show you 5 things, the last one is the best one, but we need to start with the first. Right? All of this is the dopamine buildup.
And I do not overinflate the impact that I'm describing here, to the point where something happened that I've never ever seen before. At the end of David's session, as he was beginning to wrap up, he said, guys, my time is coming to an end, and was about to carry on that sentence. Everyone in the room was up on their feet saying, we want more, we want more. Whole crowd chanting and roaring for this guy. So I am hoping that I can convince him to come back next year for AdCon 2025. Let me know in the comments if you were at the event this year. Would you like to see David back again next year? If we get some comments that I can screenshot and show him, perhaps he will do that. But he was just epic. And look, one more that I want to mention. There's a gentleman called Stott, and a mutual friend connected us not that long ago, maybe 18 months ago. And actually Adam joined my mastermind group. And while in that mastermind group, I'm able to build a connection with many of my members. And I really hit it off with Adam. And I realized very quickly how unbelievably smart this guy is, how talented this guy is. And on the topic of branding, positioning, marketing, messaging, there are very few people on the planet that know it as well as he does. And so again, I called in a favor and I asked him if he would come and present to our audience at AdCon 2024, and he did. And with the short allotment of time that I was able to give him at the event, he just blew the house down. Everybody loved that session. I kept peering from behind the curtain to have a look at the audience while he was up on stage, and I can't tell you how many people scribbling notes. And after the event, when I'm speaking to people and asking who their favorite speakers were, you know, Adam's name just coming up over and over and over again. So much so that I sense the demand for this topic, because the reality is branding isn't really that sexy. The topic of branding isn't sexy when you're trying to get your business moving, right? The idea of I just need more traffic, I just need more conversions, I just need more clients, and someone talks about branding and you go, get out of here, I just want more traffic. So it's not the sexiest topic, but he's got an amazing way of teaching it, communicating it in such a way that you realize the importance of it, you realize the simplicity of implementing it, and you realize the power that comes with it when it's done correctly.
But when I started this coaching business in 2016, I was kind of drinking my own Kool-Aid. I thought, you know what, I built these businesses, I'm good at this, I'm good at that, and people will see that. People straight away will recognize that I'm really good at what I do. And, you know, people want me to coach them and people want me to help them. And, you know, I can't wait to go and get started. Did it work out like that? Absolutely not. Because frankly, it doesn't matter what you know. Okay? It doesn't matter who you know. It matters who knows you.
So much so that I've actually invited him to come and speak at our upcoming expansion mastermind. This is a group of clients that I have. We get together once a quarter, and I've got Sarah Davies from Dragon's Den actually coming to our upcoming mastermind, and Adam's doing a session on personal branding, and he's going to help those in the room to set up their online presence in such a way that clients come to them, not the other way around. If you're interested in learning more about my expansion mastermind, by the way, we do actually have a few spots at the moment. I'd love to have that conversation with you. I'll leave a link in the description box. Go ahead and click on that. There'll be a bit of information about expansion, what it is, and if you want to, you can have a chat with a member of my team. So as we wrap up, I've got a really important question for you, okay? Whether you attended AdCon this year or not, let me know in the comments box, who do you want to be speaking on my stage next? Okay, the topic of this conference, marketing, sales, coaching, service providers in the room looking to scale their business with traffic, funnels, and sales strategies. Who do you want to see up on that stage? Let me know. It's going to greatly influence the people that I look for next year. And who knows, the person that you attach in a comment below might be the person you see up on stage next year. All right, I hope you enjoyed this video. Thanks for going along this little journey with me here and allowing me to share with you my debrief from the event. And don't forget to get on the waitlist for AdCon 2025. There'll be a link in the description box, adcon.co.uk, and I'll see you in a future video.